put him to. Best hitter.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the April 9th meeting of the Board of Zoning Adjustment. I'd first like to thank all staff who have prepared cases for on your behalf for us to hear today. They work very hard to do that, so I want to thank them. And in addition, I want to thank my fellow board members around the table. This is a volunteer position. We're appointed by the mayor. And again, we give up time the second and fourth Wednesday of each month to be here. And we're honored to do it, to hear your cases and judge you fairly. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Sarah, who's going to explain the rules of the day.
Thank you. I'll describe our procedures for the hybrid meeting today. First, for everyone joining us online, there are two categories of people participating in the meeting: attendees and panelists. Right now, the only panelists are the board members and city staff. If you are an applicant or a member of the public who is interested in a case, please use the raise hand function when the case is announced to let staff know you would like to speak on the case. There is a ribbon at the bottom of your Zoom screen with a hand icon. Click this to raise your hand to request a promotion to panelist. You will need to accept the promotion to panelist in order to speak. It may appear temporarily as if you have been disconnected, but don't panic. You will reconnect shortly. If you are joining us via the Zoom app on a smartphone or computer, please change your screen name to reflect your legal name. If you are calling in on a phone line, you cannot adjust your screen name. It appears as your phone number. You can still provide testimony by raising your hand when the case is called by pressing star followed by the number 9. At the time of promotion, you must turn on your camera and microphone to be sworn in. Your microphone needs to always be on mute unless you are giving testimony at the appropriate time. For everyone who is joining us in person, please approach the microphone on the podium when it is appropriate to give testimony. Applicants may be seated at the center desk when the case is announced. Everyone planning to testify must sign in on the sign-in sheet. If you are in person, there is no need for you to be on the Zoom meeting as well. And joining the meeting in both manners causes a lot of unnecessary feedback and audio disruptions. All public testimony, in person and virtual, is subject to the following rules. The BZA secretary or designated representative will identify you when it is time for you to speak. You must be sworn in under oath to provide testimony. Please provide your full name and address when you are sworn in. Applicants, you all aren't adjusting your rules and regulations, so let's skip over time limits here for momentarily. Everyone, board members, city staff, and members of the public need to speak closely and clearly into the microphone. You may hear an alarm when your allotted time is over. We ask that you be respectful and wrap up your statement once you hear the alarm. We ask that there be no repetitive or irrelevant testimony. If you wish to admit exhibits, you need to have your exhibits ready on a jump drive or ready to share on your screen, and they need to be emailed if they are admitted to the assigned planner for the case. The chat box online is only for questions about the agenda, and merits of each case are not to be discussed in the chat box. And the Board of Zoning Adjustment may take breaks during the day. These are typically taken around 10:30 and 12:30, and that is all.
Thank you, Sarah. I really appreciate that. And before we start to review cases, I'd like to swear in all city staff who will be testifying today. If you're online, please turn on your cameras and microphones. Otherwise, please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today? If so, please state your name. Please call the roll.
Sarah Copeland, I do.
James Duddy, I do.
Alec Gustafson, I do.
Connor Tomlin, I do.
Stephanie Saldari, I do.
Genevieve Khan, I do.
That's everyone
Everybody?
for today. Yes.
And Sarah, I'm going to turn this over to you to identify the continuances and or dismissals for today's docket.
Sure. Our first continuance is docket item number 2, CDBZA 2024-199, a request to approve a variance to the setback of a wireless communication tower in an M1-5 zoning district, plus any additional variances on about 0.05 acres generally located at 4923 Lawn Avenue. We request this be continued off docket. The next continuance is docket item number 3. This is a change from what is printed in the docket. This is case CD BZA 2025-22, a request to approve a variance to permit a smaller side and rear setback, plus any other needed variances on the subject site in an R 1.5 zoning district on about 0.43 acres, generally located at 1307 Wabash Avenue. Staff requests continuance to April 23rd without fee. Docket item number 5 is case CD BZA 2025-11, a request to appeal zoning violations related to unapproved parking surfaces on the subject property on about 6 acres, generally located at 7780 East US 40 Highway. Staff requests continuance off docket. Docket item number 6 is case CD BZA 2025-32, a request to appeal a zoning violation related to a gravel parking lot on the subject site on about 40 acres, generally located at 8701 East US 40 Highway. Staff requests that this item be dismissed. Docket item number 7 is CD SUP 2024-48, a request to approve a special use permit for motor vehicle repair on the subject site on about 0.5 acres, generally located at 3840 Warwick Boulevard. Staff requests continuance to April 23rd. Docket item number 8 is CD BZA 2024-108, a request to approve a variance to the maximum floor space in the accessory dwelling unit standards, plus any additional variances on about 0.14 acres, generally located at 3419 Baltimore Avenue. Staff requests continuance to April 23rd. Those are all the continuances and dismissals.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Does anyone in the live or virtual audience have any comments or on these continuances and or dismissals?
We do have a hand raised online. I'm going to promote Eric McGrew to panelist.
Eric, turn on your camera and microphone, please. I don't see you yet, Eric.
My camera is supposed to be on. Can you hear me now?
We can, Eric. Before we continue on, and you're speaking on some of these continuances or dismissals we just mentioned, sir?
My continuance is the last one, number 8, and I need to move it from the 23rd to May 14th.
Okay, that's the Royal Auto Trim case.
No, that's the, I apologize. It's the 3419 Baltimore Avenue exception to the ADU floor size.
Okay, good. And you'd like to move that to what date, sir? The first?
May 14th, please.
All right. Sarah, do you have any opposition to that?
No, staff
Okay.
has no concerns.
And that's a quorum case. Ebbets, Gorens, Hayes, Mixdorf, and Wright are on that case, so. Pardon me? Docket number 8, Tom.
No fee.
No fee, nope. All right. And Sarah, I've got a question on docket number 6 that's being dismissed. What happened there? Do you mind sharing that with us?
You would need to ask Anna for more information about that. I see her online.
I'm here, but I haven't been sworn in.
Would you like to swear her in?
Yeah, and I'm going to swear you in real quick. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today?
I do. And
please state your name one more time for the court reporter.
Anna Naniski.
Perfect. So my question was on docket number 6, the 8745 East US Highway 40. Why was that dismissed? Just curious.
The notice of violation that is being appealed in that case was retracted.
Okay. Mr. Duddy, your comment?
Yes, sir. There was a section of the code that was misquoted, and with that being the case, we determined that we needed to resend that notice.
Okay, thank you very much, both Anna and Mr. Duddy. All right, board members, any other questions or comments on this dismissals or continuances? And whoever makes the motion, please note in docket number 8, the 3419 Baltimore, that'll be moved to the May 14 case.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Hayes.
On docket item 2, or I move that on docket item 2, we continue the case off docket. On docket item 3, we continue the case to our April 23rd meeting without fee. On docket item 5, we continue the case off docket. Docket item 6, we dismiss the case. On docket item 7, we continue the case to our April 23rd meeting. And on docket item 8, we continue the case to our May 14th meeting without fee.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Mixdorf. Please call the roll, Sarah.
Wow, hold on.
It's okay.
Gorence,
Aye.
Mixdorf,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye. Those motions are acted upon as stated. And with that, let's call, by the way, docket number item A, we're going to move that to the end of our meeting. That's the vote on the procedures of the Board of Zoning. And with that, Sarah, I'll let you call case number 1.
Docket item number 1 is case CD SUP 2024-52, a request to approve a special use permit to allow a rooftop tavern nightclub use on an existing building in the Troost Corridor overlay on about 1.8 acres generally located at the northeast corner of Troost Avenue and East 30th Street. Genevieve Conn-Smith is the staff planner on this case. If you would like to speak on this case, please approach the podium on the microphone or raise your hand online to be sworn in. We do have one hand raised online. Alan Nealand, I'm promoting 2 panelists.
Partner.
He's
Okay.
part of the applicant.
Alan, is that Alan there? No.
No.
He's online. Okay. Alan, turn on your camera and microphone. We're going to swear the 3 of you in all at one time.
All right.
Perfect. Sir, and at the table, please raise your right hand to be sworn as I administer the oath. And if you agree, please say I do and your name and address for the court reporter. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today?
I do.
Let's do names and addresses, please. Eric, or excuse me, Alan, let's go with you first.
Alan Nealand, Kansas City, Missouri, 2999 Troost.
And I do, yes, correct?
I do. Yes.
And at the table?
Charles Peach, 2999 Troost, and I do.
Okay, thank you. Who's speaking? Is that you, Charles?
Yes.
Are you speaking on the case? There's a list of administrative exhibits labeled 1 to 9. They identify items within your case that the board needs to admit to review your case. They're labeled 1 to 9. If you have any questions on those, let me know. If not, do I have your permission to admit those?
Yes, you do.
Okay, those are admitted. Part of that is the presentation by Ms. Genevieve. Tell us about the case, Genevieve.
Yes. Good morning, board members. Docket item number 1 is for a special use permit at 2999 Troost Avenue for a rooftop bar. Site is located just west of Highway 71 and south of downtown. This is the subject site at the corner of Troost and East 30th Street. There's an existing building there. It contains residential dwelling units and restaurant, the Combine. And this special use permit is before you today because the tavern or nightclub use, which is what the rooftop will contain, requires a special use permit when located within the Troost overlay. So this property is in the Troost overlay district. And the portion of the site that will have the rooftop bar is relatively small. It will be about 3,400 square feet, have a maximum of 120 occupants, and it will be at the very far corner of Troost and 30th Street. It will be accessible. You'll have to go inside the building to get to the rooftop, and there is no parking required with this use because it's a historic building. There are adjacent parking lots that the tenant utilizes. And at the City Plan Commission hearing, the commission requested that the hours of operation be added to the plans. So on this plan, you can see Wednesday through Saturday, hours of operation will be 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. and Sunday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. And so that was to mitigate any concerns about noise disruption. Although the closest residence outside of the units in this building is, I believe, over 200 feet away. So it is along the commercial corridor, first and foremost. And then just some street views of the building. This is the corner where the rooftop bar is located. And then from 30th Street, you can see the entrances to the building. And again, here's the corner where it will be. And then this is the back of the building on Forest Avenue. So there's a parking lot separating where that rooftop bar will be. And the City Plan Commission and staff recommended approval subject to conditions. One of those conditions being that there's an expiration date of 3 years. So after 3 years, the applicant will come back. They can renew the special use permit, and at that time, change the expiration, remove the expiration, just to make sure that the tenant is operating in accordance with their special use permit. And I can take any questions.
Thank you, Genevieve. Board members, any questions? You have one?
The main bar is downstairs.
I can let the applicant talk a little bit more about the specifics of the business and the operations.
Main bar is downstairs.
The combine has been in operation for 4.5 years now, with a liquor license and permit. The reason that we had to apply for a tavern license for the rooftop is that access to the rooftop is not through contiguous leased space. It is through common area. And so we applied for a tavern license for the rooftop bar area, but all food will be prepared in the restaurant downstairs and then brought up. And we have a full service bar that is on the roof.
That license has been approved for the rooftop.
It is in the approval process. The application has been sent through to regulated industries. We just have to finalize it once we get through all of this.
All right, Mr. Peach, why should we grant your request today? Please tell us why.
At the end of the day, we are a neighborhood restaurant, and this is something that will create a beautiful space for the neighborhood to come and gather. It offers beautiful views of downtown, a great outdoor dining experience. It's something that the city can be proud of, especially being on the east side of Troost. Something that we envisioned from the very beginning of opening our restaurant, doing that space and having that access up there. I think it'll be something that will greatly enhance the neighborhood and make a destination spot for the neighborhood.
Alan, do you have anything else to comment with Mr. Peach?
No, I concur.
And as I recall, that was the old bread manufacturing place. Is that correct?
Exactly. It was a Wonder Bread factory.
Yeah. I was there. My aunt used to work there a long time ago, and I remember coming in and getting free Twinkies and other condiments that were made there. So
they still have the pans on the walls there.
Do
all
they?
the Twinkie pans. They're massive.
That's funny. All right, board members, questions of either Alan or Mr. Peach?
Do you have any issues with the conditions outlined in the staff report?
No, none.
Okay.
You're going to carry the food up back and forth, or?
Yes, through the elevator. We'll actually put them in to-go boxes so that they stay warm and hot. But yeah, it'll be delivered up to the rooftop.
Filled on the way going up there. Then.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yes.
Right. Any other questions, comments, or motion?
I'd offer a motion.
Thank you, Ms. Mixdorf.
In case number 52, I move we grant the applicant's request in accordance with site plan, staff report, and the conditions therein.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Gorens.
Gorens,
Aye.
Mixdorf,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Hayes.
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye, your project is approved. Good luck with it. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you
Thank you.
for coming online, Alan.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, your next item is docket item number 4. CDBZA 2025-29, a request to approve a variance to the residential vehicular standards to permit 2 parking pads in the front yard, plus any other needed variances in an R 1.5 zoning district on about 0.1 acres, generally located at 4515 Forest Avenue. Stephanie Saldari is the staff planner for this case. If you would like to speak on this case, please raise your hand online or approach the microphone on the podium to be sworn in. We have no hands raised online.
Good morning. I'm going to swear you in. Please raise your right hand to be sworn. And if you agree, please say I do and state your name and address for the court reporter. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today?
I do. Sarah Ladd, 350 Southwest Longview Boulevard, Lee Summit, Missouri.
It's all good. Thank you so much. And Sarah, there's a list of administrative exhibits. Those are associated with your case today. They're labeled 1 to 9. If you have any questions on those, ask me. Otherwise, do we have your permission to admit those?
Yes.
Great. And part of that is a presentation by Miss Stephanie. And Stephanie, tell us about this case today.
All right. There we go. Okay, so we got docket item number 4, CDBCA 2025-29, located on 4515 Forest Avenue, zone R-1.5. And the applicant is seeking approval of a variance to the residential vehicular standards to permit 2 parking pads on the subject site for a proposed duplex. So the subject site is located over here. Highlighted in yellow is the site. Right now it's a vacant lot. And it is infill. So this is the site plan of the proposed duplex. It's a stacked duplex. And these will be the parking pads. They're like the ribbon driveways, essentially. Yeah. And this is just a rendering of what the duplex will look like. So, and then we got 2 variances today. So the first one is for the parking pad on the subject site. So this would be a complete deviation. A change to the character of the neighborhood is not anticipated. There are several nearby properties that seem to also have a parking pad that did not meet the setback requirements. And as a reminder, parking pads must be set back 20 feet in the front yard. So you need to have a 20-foot driveway. And then after that would be the parking pad of at least 15 feet in length. Can the difficulty be obviated by another method? So no, the lot measures 34 feet in width, so it would be too narrow to have the parking pads on the side of the building, and or to have a driveway that leads to the rear yard. And there is no alley access from the rear yard. And then this is just a visual. These are some of the houses with those parking pads that do not seem to meet that 20-foot setback. The second variance is a variance of 5 feet to the infill lot and building standards to permit a rear setback of 25 feet on the subject site. So this is a 16% decrease. A change to the character of the neighborhood is not anticipated since other nearby properties also seem to have a shorter rear setback. The proposed building could be reduced in length by 5 feet to meet the requirements. However, the building is already quite narrow to meet the side setbacks, and this is a building that's supposed to fit 2 families. And then this is again what the building looks like. So the building is about 20 feet in width. And as you can see, it is not a big building, so they could meet at least the side setbacks. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Stephanie. Board members, do you have any questions of Ms. Sodari? I've got a quick one. In the neighborhood, would you say there's it appears there may be other homes with front parking in the front yard, Stephanie?
Yeah. So yeah, there were the 2 I showed, and there's probably other ones as well.
Sure. Thank you. Nobody's online. Sarah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Gorens.
It's, the dry pads are concrete or?
They're ribbon stripped. So you'll have concrete and then grass or rock. I don't think we've gone that far in the design.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Sarah, tell us why we should approve your request today.
Well, we're just trying to fill some of these vacant lots. And you guys used to see me all the time with Sean, of course, who's not here now. So forgive me for being a little more nervous than typical. But so we've done a lot of design changes to meet the narrow lots. This is one of our design changes. We prefer to try to get driveways so we can have parking in the rear. Unfortunately, with some of these narrow lots, we're not able to. And we're trying to find solutions. And we thought maybe the ribbon strip would be a good solution, as we're not just pouring a concrete pad in front of the house. We're trying to make it more, I don't know, aesthetic to the eye as you drive by.
And have you done some other homes in the neighborhood as well, Sarah?
Yes,
Okay.
we do a lot of in that corridor, Troost and Paseo.
All right, thank you. Board members, other questions of Miss Sarah or Ladd?
Just looking at, I think, one of the first pages of the document that you shared in the attachment, you can see a lot of driveways in the front yard in that neighborhood, so it doesn't seem like it would be out of place. I also appreciate the ribbon strip approach as opposed to the giant piece of concrete. So
Thank you. That was my idea.
I like it. I'd offer motion if there's no other questions.
Please go ahead, Ms. Mixdorf.
In case number 29, I move we grant the applicant's request in accordance with site plan and staff report.
I have a motion by Ms. Mixdorf. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Wright.
Gorens,
Aye.
Mixdorf,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye. Your project is approved, Sarah. Don't be nervous. It's all good. It's all
I don't
good.
do well in these situations. It's just fine. Sean's normally with
You
me.
did great. Thank you for coming before us.
Thank you.
Where are we at?
Number 9.
Docket item number 9. This is case CD BZA 2025-28, a request to approve a variance to the lot and building standards to permit a smaller side setback on the subject site, plus any other needed variances in an R 2.5 zoning district on about 0.15 acres, generally located at 4028 McGee Street. Stephanie Saldari is the staff planner for this case also. If you are the applicant or a member of the public who would like to speak on this case, if you please raise your hand online or approach the podium at the microphone.
So, the applicant, Eli might be here around 10 because I didn't realize we were gonna have this many continuances. So I told him, hey, show up at 10. So he might be on his way.
All right.
I don't have any hands raised online. There's a Matthew, but I don't have a last name. Do you want?
Is it Matthew? Oh, if I can't say that, but Matthew V, as in Vase.
Sheldon,
He's the owner, so but I think Eli was gonna present the case.
Would you like us to skip over this one?
Yeah, we can move it
So
to
he
later
gets
in the
here?
docket.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay, then we'll move on to docket item number 10. This case CD BZA 2025-17, a request to approve a variance to the maximum height of a detached garage in an O-2 zoning district, plus any additional variances on about 4.95 acres generally located at 11200 Grandview Road. The staff planner for this case is Connor Tomlin. If you are a member of the public who would like to speak on this case, please raise your hand online or approach the microphone on the podium to be sworn in.
See any hands here?
We have no hands raised online.
Okay, great. Good morning. Please raise your right hands to be sworn. If you agree, please say I do with your home address and name. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today?
I do.
And state your name and address.
Clay Leslie, 11200 Grandview Road.
Thank you.
Allison Leslie, 11200 Grandview Road.
Thank you, Allison. Who's going to be speaking on your case today? Clay or Allison?
I think both of us, actually.
Oh, that's good.
Okay.
There's a list of administrative exhibits labeled 1 to 9. They identify parts of your case that we need to admit. Do you have any questions on those?
No, sir.
If not, do I have your permission to admit them?
Yes, sir.
Okay, those are admitted, and part of that is a presentation by Mr. Tomlin on your case.
Okay, we have docket number 10, CD BZA 2025-17, located at 11200 Grandview Road. This is an O2 zoning district. The request is to approve a variance to the maximum height of a detached garage plus any additional variances. This is the general location of the site. This is a closer look at the site itself. This is the site plan. This is the elevations. The next few slides are going to be some images submitted by the applicants. I'll allow them to speak to that here in just a moment. Variance request A is a variance of 9 13/16 inches to the maximum height of a detached garage in an O2 zoning district to permit a detached accessory garage at a height of 25 feet 9 13/16 inches on the subject site per the submitted plans. A substantial change to the character of the neighborhood is anticipated as properties in the area generally are compliant with accessory height requirements. However, this lot is a little different as it's not your traditional zoning district, so it has different height requirements than you would see in a residential zoning district. That being said, it still is over the maximum by about roughly 10 inches, and the difficulty could have been obviated by ensuring the structure was compliant with zoning requirements prior to purchase. And then variance request B is a variance of complete deviation to the location of a detached accessory garage to permit a detached garage to be located in the street side yard of the subject site. Again, that is a complete deviation as garages are not permitted in front or street side yards. A substantial change to the character of the neighborhood is anticipated as most properties that have garages within the neighborhood are generally located within the rear yard. And the difficulty could be obviated through a change of design, such as relocating the garage to the south side of the home. That concludes my presentation, and I can take any questions the board may have.
Board members, questions of Mr. Tomlin? Seeing none, Clay and Allison, why should we approve your request today?
Yeah, I think what we're trying to show in some of those pictures, 112th Street is it's a little street that connects two major thoroughfares, and there's no houses there. One of the drone pictures shows on both sides of it, there's basically 30-foot of trees. On one side is a church. They have a football field. And then the other side is like a dentist office and a daycare. So and then the other thing that we wanted to show is it's kind of become a dumping grounds. We've owned the property for a couple years, and people just dump tires and trees and trash. And we've kind of adopted, my wife has kind of adopted it. My pregnant wife, they pulled over and they're like, "Thank you so much for cleaning this up." We would never ask, can we put our garage in our front yard? But it's a 10-acre. We actually bought 5 more acres from the land bank, so it's 10 acres. And just because of all those things, and then the other thing is we wanted to consolidate the property so that we can further develop the property, which should obviously be more tax revenue. And we're building a big old house there. It's hopefully going to be good for the city and good for us. And, but if we can consolidate that garage right there, where we can actually use a concrete driveway to it, we were going to put it in the back, but then we would have to pour like a 400-yard concrete driveway to it. So, and then obviously I guess it's 10 inches too tall. I would just say that I don't think that anybody's going to have a problem with that in this area, with really any of this stuff. But we would just really love to have your favor. Something else you want to share?
Yeah, I just wanted to share that the back side of the property is kind of what we've cleared for for our kids to play and use. That's kind of like our yard area for them. And so it just makes sense. We have that big old pasture in the front that's really being used for nothing. And like he said, there's a nice thick tree line between our property and 112th, which along 112th, there's really no other houses that have any driveways to that road anyway. It's like a hidden street where people just dump stuff. So it'd just be nice to use that pasture since we didn't put our house that close to 112th. We wanted it set back just a little bit. And in order to put our garage way in the back, like you said, it would cost a lot of money to pour a 400-foot yard pad going all the way to the back of there. So we just wanted to put it right off our driveway. And so that was just the ideal location. Since we have all the space, we wanted to utilize it as best we possibly could for our family.
And Allison, the garage is not built quite yet. Is that right?
No, but we do have pictures showing that we had gone back and forth.
Bring the microphone a little bit closer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
We had gone back and forth with city planning a few times. And we thought we were close to like the finish line because we had, they asked us to get things. We sent it to the engineer. We got back and forth. And then our manufacturer had a sale and we actually purchased the building. So that's sitting in our back in our yard space. So we've already purchased it, and we would appreciate if we didn't have to figure out how to return it because I'm not sure if we can, but I know it's 10 inches too tall, but it doesn't seem
Ultimately, we could
excessive.
cut a foot off of and re-engineer it if, we could do
Have
that
to,
for sure.
yeah.
The structure is prefab, I take it?
Yes, sir.
At least as my opinion, I think the height is less a concern than the position. But I think to the chair's point, just the fact that it's not like, I assume there's foundation work and stuff to be done.
Yes, sir.
So it's not, the position's not like permanent.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Anyone else have questions of the applicant? So again, to be clear, it sits on 5 acres.
Yeah, we haven't combined the two, but we have 5 acres that are adjacent. It used to be an old railroad track. You can kind of see right there. So we
Right.
bought that from the land bank and cleared it out. So there's like a trail there where the railroad track has been. Our neighbors use it, and it actually goes down further. It's like almost a half a mile. So, but yeah, this technically 5 acres.
The site plan shows a lengthy drive to the house, but the satellite imagery it's not clear whether that's paved.
Well, we haven't poured the driveway yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're still in the process of building our house, so it's like a gravel road right
Gravel
now.
now, but
We're
it definitely
paving it
will
once
be
we
paved.
finish.
Have you considered positioning the garage on the west side of the house?
Okay, for the west side, we don't own the west, so I think you might be saying the south side.
So if you're coming through your drive
Yes.
from Grandview Road,
Our drive is
Not
on
112.
oh, 112th, okay.
Yeah, so like page 14 of this.
That's the old entrance to that piece of property was off Grandview Road, but we're making a driveway off 112.
Okay, the satellite imagery was
It's okay. Yeah, that
confusing.
throws you off because it's older. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, the reason we moved our house way up there as well is because it's sloped down, and so it's nicer to have it kind of up on more of a level ground up there.
Questions, comments, motions? We've seen a lot more variances, more than 9 inches, by the way. So
Okay.
I think that's pretty minimal, at least my opinion.
Especially for the acreage.
Yeah,
You
for the-
have acreage,
Yeah.
which is different than a more condensed,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
inner urban neighborhood.
What are you gonna do with all the land?
Well, like I said, one thing we would like to do, we have 5 kids and we just found out we're having twins. And so my, I think I've convinced my mom and dad to move from Columbia, Missouri, where they live up here. And honestly, we'd like to build a house. They would like to build a house there, where we were gonna put this garage, a house. And so, we'd like to further develop it.
No animals.
No. We have too many
Maybe
kids.
some
We can't even get a
chickens.
dog.
Maybe some chickens. But I don't have time for all that.
Chickens be-
Ready?
I'd offer a motion with the more rural nature of this particular property in mind. So in case number 10, or docket number 10, case number 117, I move we grant the applicant's request in accordance with site plan and staff report.
I have a motion. Do I have a second from someone?
Second?
Second from Mr. Gorens.
Gorens,
Aye.
Mixdorf,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye, your project is approved.
Thank you
Clay and
so much.
Allison,
Appreciate it. Thank
double
you.
trouble coming.
Yeah. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay, docket item number 11 is case CD BZA 2025-24. A request to approve variances to the lot and building standards in an infill residential development site, plus any other variances on about 0.156 acres, generally located at 4801 Holly Street. The staff planner for this case is Alec Gustafson. You are the applicant or a member of the public who would like to speak on this case, please raise your hand online or approach the microphone on the podium.
So he should be on his way, but he's not here right now.
Okay. All right. We'll pause him then, I guess, looks like.
Do you want to go back to number 9?
Yeah, is he here?
Yes.
Or online or whatever? Okay.
Okay, we'll go back to docket item number 9. CDBZA 2025-28. Stephanie Saldari is back. If you would like to speak, if you're a member of the public who would like to speak on this case, please raise your hand online or approach the microphone on the podium. Okay, we do have a hand raised online, so I will promote Matthew to panelist.
And Matthew, turn on your camera and microphone. Hear us? Don't see him yet. He's coming. I think I see you. Is your microphone on too, sir? I can't hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Now we can. Great.
Cool.
All right.
Sorry, I was on my way, but I'm pulling over now. So just give me 30 seconds and I'll be good. I'm the owner of the property.
All right, great. We don't want you to drive and testify and raise right hands at the same time. So
Understood.
we'll wait for you to kind of pull over and administer the oath. I still see trees going by.
I know. All right.
You good?
I'm good.
Okay. Please raise your right hands to be sworn. And if you agree, say I do, and state your name and address for the court reporter. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today?
Yes.
Name and address?
Matthew Versheldon, 10501 East Bannister Road.
Thank you,
Kansas City,
Matthew.
Missouri.
And you?
Eli. Yeah.
Eli. Okay, thank you. And I do?
I do. Oh.
And I need your address too, Eli. Thank you.
10909 Forest Avenue, Kansas City, Missouri.
Thank you. And who's speaking on the case? You or Matthew?
I will be.
Okay, great. As I've told you, other people earlier, there's a list of administrative exhibits labeled 1 to 9 that identify items within your
10 now.
10 now?
Yeah, there's a letter of public testimony that came in.
Thank you. So 1 to 10, do you have any objection to us? First of all, do you have any questions on those exhibits? And if not, do I have your permission to admit those?
Yes, no.
Okay.
No questions.
Those are admitted, 1 to 10. Part of that is a presentation by Miss Stephanie. So tell us about the case.
All right, we got docket item number 9, CDBCA 2025-28, located on 4028 McGee Street, Zone R-2.5. And the applicant is seeking approval of a variance to the infill lot and building standards to permit a smaller side setback to resolve a permit compliance violation for a dormer built without permits on the north side of the existing building. And then, of course, after I'm done, I'll have Eli expand on that. So the subject site is located just right here. Highlighted in yellow is the subject site, and these are the dormers in question. So this is a site plan. So they are about 1.77 feet away from the property line. These are the elevations of the home, but we're focusing on the north elevation. So here it is zoomed in. Here are some photos of that north side of the house. And so we are looking at one variance today, a variance of 3.23 feet to the infill lot and building standards to permit a side setback of 1.77 feet on the subject site. This is a 64% decrease and a substantial change to the character of the neighborhood is not anticipated. So other properties in this area, including the subject site, have houses that seem to encroach on the 5-foot setback. And could the difficulty be obviated by another method? The existing house is already encroaching on the 5-foot setback, and the dormer addition was built on the encroaching side, but it's not extending further than the original house. And then this is a picture of the neighborhood. As you can see, a lot of these houses on the north side are encroaching on that 5-foot setback. And that concludes my presentation.
Board members, questions of Ms. Soldari? Eli, why should we approve your request today, sir?
Yeah, so I bought the house about 5.5 years ago. I reached out to a contractor, and we brainstormed. He said he could build these dormers. I said, great, and hired him to do it. And he got the work done. And then I ended up selling the house to Matthew, and he's owned it since then. And then in around September, Matthew reached out to me because he had been reached out to by the city saying that the house had been worked on without a permit, even though it was 5 years later. How that happened, apparently somebody had called the 311 hotline. And so then I reached out to Andrea, who's a city inspector, because she was the one who, I guess, labeled the house as in code violation. So since September, I've been working with Andrea and Matthew to basically right our wrong. We've gotten all the engineer plans, the site survey, the ECA evaluation, ECA pages for energy efficiency, and have submitted all of those, and they've all passed for the work that was done 5 years ago. And then Andrea was able to come with her partner to inspect the home to make sure that we built it correctly. And other than a few minor changes that have nothing to do with the structure, some taping on HVAC, things like that, we had passed everything. But at that, around the same day, this is about maybe more like a month ago, I'd been reached out by Stephanie that said, hey, in addition to the plans and the engineer reports and everything that you have to get a variance because you're too close. The dormers that we built, I have a photo, but if we could maybe, I don't know if we can go, I don't know if you guys can see this.
It's in our staff report too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I'll leave that there. So we went straight up, or my contractor went straight up from the exterior wall. But that exterior wall we found out is grandfathered in as being too close, but any new construction has to have, be within the setback guidelines. So of course I've reached out to my contractor, about, and we've had a few conversations, but ultimately I did not ensure that he got the permits that he was supposed to get. Otherwise we wouldn't be in this situation. And so I've taken the responsibility to do everything we need to do. And Andrea with the city said, if we can get this permit, then the actual building construction of it just needs to get or once we get the variance, then we can get a building permit. And she said, we've already inspected you, you'll pass as long as you can have this variance. So obviously very sorry, very remorseful, very remorseful for Matthew, who has had to deal with this for the last 9 months or so, when he had bought the house not knowing, that permits were not pulled and construction was done. So we're hoping that we can have this variance to get Matthew his house free and clear. And we feel like the work that we did looks good and doesn't harm the neighborhood with the appearance at all. So yeah, that's my case.
Okay, thank you, Eli. Board members, questions? And before I do that, Matthew, any other further comments?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. And Matthew, are you going to be living in the house, or is this going to be resold?
So we have lived there since 2020. Long story short, we bought a new house. So we had listed it for sale, and while it was listed is when we got the letter from the city so we pulled the listing. And so we could reset. I don't know, but that's currently
Okay.
we had bought a house planning to sell it, and 9 months have passed where we haven't done anything. So
Thank you.
Yep.
I just want to commend you on your very neighborly approach to this process. This is very helpful of you to assist the current owners. I feel like we don't typically see this in other cases, so thank you for doing that.
Well, thanks for saying that. I don't know how I would avoid it, but yeah.
Any neighbor opposition to this? Have you seen any?
No, not that we know of. In fact, Matthew was able to reach out to his neighbor to the north, which is the side that it's on, to get a letter of approval, and we have that. I don't know if we want to or if they have.
Yeah,
You
it
guys
should
have
be
that.
on Compass Casey under Exhibit 10.
We approve a number of these setback variances that are from older construction prior to the zoning code. So with that, I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Hayes. Go ahead.
On docket item 9, case 28, I move that we grant the requested variance in accordance with site plan and staff report.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Mixdorf.
Gorence,
Aye.
Mixdorf,
Aye.
Wright. Aye. Hayes.
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye. Your project is approved. Good luck
Thank
with
you
the
so
sales,
much.
and away you go. Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Eli.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, guys.
Thank you, Matthew. Get back
Thank
to
you all.
driving.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hey, docket.
Do we have 11 in the house? No, which is James Hamilton. Nope. Okay.
Yeah, I don't see him online. No, okay. Would you like to go to number 12?
Yes, please.
Docket item number 12 is case CD BZA 2025-30, a request to approve a variance to the required distance between structures on one lot to permit a deck to be less than 10 feet away from an existing detached garage, plus any other needed variances in an R5 zoning district on about 0.12 acres, generally located at 7528 Grand Avenue. I see the applicant online. Christy Erickson, I'm going to promote you to panelist. If anyone else would like to speak on this case, please raise your hand online or approach the microphone on the podium to be sworn in.
Christy, turn on your camera and microphone, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Thanks.
Please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today?
Yes.
And please state your name and address for the court reporter.
Christina, full name, Erickson, 7528 Grand Avenue, Kansas City, Missouri, 64114.
Thank you very much for that. And Ms. Erickson, there is a list of administrative exhibits labeled 1 to 9 that, first of all, do you have any questions on those exhibits? We kind of need those admitted to hear your case today. But if you have any questions, please let me know before I admit them.
Nope, no questions.
And do we have your permission to admit them?
Yes.
Thank you. Those are admitted. Part of that is a presentation by Ms. Stephanie Solari on your case. Stephanie?
All right. So this is docket item number 12, CD BCA 2025-30, located on 7528 Grand Avenue, Zone R-1.5. And the applicant is seeking approval of a variance to the distance between structures requirement to permit a proposed screen porch to be closer than 10 feet to an existing detached garage. I said deck in my legal ad, but it's actually a screen porch. So the subject site is located in the southern part of the city. Highlighted in yellow is the subject site. The porch will go in the rear of the house, and this is the detached garage in question. It's a shared garage. All right, so this is the site plan. The lined box is the proposed screen porch, and it has a 6-foot distance from the garage, and the distance requirement is at least 10 feet. So here are some pictures of what's existing. There is an existing deck in there that's about ground level. And so we have one variance today. So this is a variance of 4 feet to the separation distance requirements from an accessory structure to permit a distance of 6 feet on the subject site per the approved site plan. This is a 40% decrease. A change to the character of the neighborhood is not anticipated because there are other nearby properties who seemingly don't meet this distance requirement. However, the difficulty could be obviated by a change in design, just by making the porch an L shape will allow it to keep its current width for the most part and still meet the distance requirement. And so in the site plan, you can see below this box is the existing deck that's already kind of an L shape. And here's the picture. And that concludes my presentation.
All right, thank you, Stephanie. Board members, questions of Ms. Saldari?
I guess when I was looking at the plan, so I'm trying to bring it back up. So obviously it's the 6-foot distance, but it looks like that 6-foot distance is really only, for 4 feet or so, that it would be in conflict with the garage. It's not the continuity of the whole porch or the garage.
No, yeah, it's just that missing 4 feet.
All right. Any other questions of Stephanie? Christy, why should we approve your request today, ma'am?
Yeah, thank you. If I were to move the deck to the 10 feet distance and it would come straight out from the house, it would actually come about the middle of my exterior door, which would cause some challenges to have to move the exterior door from the house. And then if I shift it to the north, I think there were some pictures submitted as well that it is would go over the electric box. So I'm just looking to be able to minimize those changes in that work.
Any neighbor comments?
I've talked to all 3 neighbors, so the one to the north, the one to the south, and then the one directly behind me. And everybody is supportive of me making this happen. Having the sign up in the front yard has caused for quite a few conversations, but everybody is supportive that I've talked to.
Thank you.
And is this a 3-season or a 4-season porch?
3-season.
I'm familiar with those homes over there, Miss Erickson, and there are quite a, those are smaller lots. And like Miss Soderi said, I'm sure there's other conflicts of city code around you at other places. So I appreciate you coming before us today, asking your approval for what you're trying to do.
Thank you.
How long have you lived in the home?
I've lived there 8 years.
Thank you. Board members, any other questions or comments? Motions from anybody?
I guess I'll make a comment and then a motion. Typically, I like to see the required spacing for projects. That is there for a reason in our zoning code. But since this is really only overlapping for a handful of feet, it's not for the whole width of the garage or the whole width of the porch. It's less concerning to me in this particular instance. So in docket number 12, case number 30, I move we grant the applicant's request in accordance with site plan and staff report.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Gorens.
Gorens?
Aye.
Mixdorf?
Aye.
Wright? Aye. Hayes?
Aye.
Ebbets?
Aye. Your project is approved, Christy. Thank you for coming before us and good luck with it. Thank you.
Great news. Thank you, everybody.
Docket item number 13 is case CD BZA 2025-31, a request to approve a variance to the maximum height of a detached garage, plus any additional variances on about 0.35 acres generally located at 1106 Northeast 115th Terrace. If you are a member of the public who would like to speak on this case, please raise your hand online or approach the microphone on the podium to be sworn in. We have a hand raised online. Fire B.
All right, sir, could you turn on your camera and microphone? Oh, we've got somebody at the podium too. Are they online yet? Do you see them?
They haven't accepted the promotion to panelist yet. So FIREB or FIREB, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. You'll need to, there we go. Please turn on your camera and microphone to be sworn in.
I don't see yet. Try to turn on your camera and microphone so we can swear you in. Still no news, Sarah?
You might want to go ahead with the people who are here. And
Okay.
we'll
All right.
try to work this
So
out.
I'm going to have all three of you raise your right hands to be sworn. If you agree, say I do with your name and home address. So raise your right hands. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today? Yeah, you're first.
I do.
And name.
Jessup Bowman,
Uh-huh.
1106 Northeast 115th Terrace, Kansas City, Missouri, 64155.
Thank you.
I do. Rachel Lawler, 1107 Northeast Cookingham Drive, Kansas City, Missouri, 64155.
Thank you.
Yep.
And the
I do. Joe DeSalvo, 11536 North Tracy Avenue, Kansas City, Missouri, 64155.
thank you, everyone. Are you two in support or against this motion?
Against.
Okay, thank you. Still no, is she
Well,
back?
They're unmuted. I'm not sure the camera is working, so you might
Hi there. What is it? Cider B or?
FIREB, FIREB. I don't know.
Are you interested in this case on Northeast 115th Terrace? Person in the virtual audience? Your microphone is muted. Can you unmute?
They are
Like it's
unmuted.
unmuted. They're unmuted. They just don't have a camera.
Okay. So what's your name? You're unmuted?
The mute sign is not by their name.
Yeah.
So FIREB or FIREB, you appear to be unmuted, but we need you to state your name and address and be sworn in.
We're going to continue on.
Sure.
Okay, great. Jessup, there's a list of administrative exhibits labeled 1 to 9. They're associated with your case today. First of all, do you have any questions on those? And do we have your permission to admit them?
No questions, and you have my permission to admit.
Okay, great. Those are admitted. Part of that is a presentation by Mr. Tomlin, the gentleman to your left. Connor, tell us about it.
Okay, today we have docket 13, CD BZA 2025-31, located at 1106 Northeast 115th Terrace. This is an R10 zoning district. A request to approve a variance to the maximum height of a detached garage in a residential area, plus any additional variances. This is the general location of the site. A closer look at the site itself, outlined in yellow. On the left, you have the proposed site plan. On the right, you have the elevation. The variance request is a variance of 6 inches to the maximum height of a detached garage in a residential district to permit a maximum height of 16 feet 6 inches on the subject site per the submitted site plan. Again, that's 6 inches or roughly a 3% change from the code requirement. A substantial change to the character of the neighborhood is anticipated. While many properties in the immediate area do not have attached accessory garages, those that do appear to be conforming to that maximum height requirement. The difficulty could be obviated through a change of design, such as reducing the roof pitch, so it would measure at or below 16 feet. That concludes my presentation, and I can take any questions the board may have.
I have a question. Why does it not need an overall square footage variance?
So the way the code is written, you can either have 800 square feet for a detached accessory garage, or it's 1% of every 10 square feet of lot area, or in easier terms, 10% of the lot area, and he would be just below that maximum size requirement per city code requirements.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions of staff? All right, Mr. Bowman, why should we approve your project today, sir?
Like Mr. Tomlin said, we could do a design change and change the roof pitch. The goal here is to match the roof pitch of the existing residence so that it doesn't stand out or deviate from the aesthetics of the existing residence. What I plan to do in there is just general maintenance on my vehicles and store my vehicles. I plan on putting a 2-post lift inside the garage, which gives me a little bit more space that's needed for that. Just safety, overall ease of access, but I mean, I originally thought I needed 2 feet of variance when I applied for this, but based on going over the roof pitch and the code, I realized it was only 6 inches at that point. But I still want to make sure that I'm following the rules and asking for permission. So that's why I'm here today.
Thank you.
Connor, can you share your screen on both?
Oh, yeah, in just a moment.
'Cause I didn't see the citing of this in the staff report. So, okay, thank you.
And the garage is not built yet, right?
No, sir.
Okay.
I'm trying to do this the 100% right way, make sure I get permission before I go to engineering and all of that stuff in case something does have to be changed.
Right, that's correct.
Prefer permission rather than forgiveness.
Yeah.
Absolutely, sir.
Any other questions before I ask Jessup and Rachel to come on up? Oh, go ahead.
You're not gonna do any retail business out of there?
No, sir. This is completely personal use.
Oil changes, or are you gonna have
This is just for regular maintenance, lawnmower storage, my vehicles. I have approximately about 45-foot driveway. I'd like to keep that clear and not with a bunch of vehicles and stuff like that. So that's what I want to do, is be able to enclose
That's
those.
why I was asking the questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, either Jessup or Rachel, come on up.
I'm Jessup.
Oh, I'm sorry, Rachel or Joe. Sorry, I'm sorry. Rachel, you want?
Yep, you can go to the podium, sir.
Joe, stay over there. Thank you. Not that you're not permitted, but it's better. Thank you, Joe. Tell us your concerns about this case today, sir.
Okay, my concerns are this. I was on the board for 13 years over there, Highland Acres, Lakeside Heights. We worked real hard to keep the neighborhood under control and nice and neat and follow the rules and regulations of the city. Now, I have a problem with the square footage of Jess's garage. According to my calculations, it's going to be 1,320 square feet. That's what 30 by 44, I believe, computes to. And the thing is, his house is only 1,300. Now, if I was a builder and I bought that lot, I couldn't put 2 houses in there on that lot, no less this garage. Also, to my knowledge, the structure that's going up is supposed to be 8 foot from the property line. Okay, I'm sure you heard 5 out there, and the way you look. Another thing is that I have when my house was built in '87, the builder was an outstanding builder, and he plays by the rules. There's another, if you look through the 782 homes in the neighborhood, you might find 4 or 5 garages like I have. It's a 2-car detached, and the roof line matches the existing roof line to the house, yada, yada. And it's also the largest you could build, according to the city, is 24 by 32. Now, the one Jess wants to put up is larger than that, and it sure does. And the height is another thing, man. That's going to be what, 27 feet high, I believe. You know, That's wicked for, I'm sure that's not code, guys, you know, for, especially for that area. And I'm keeping into consideration that you're putting two structures on the lot size. And that structure he's putting up is larger, again, hate to repeat myself, but think about that. It's larger than his home, okay? More square footage. Another concern is drainage. And, you know, believe me, Jess is a nice guy. I can't begin to tell you how much they've improved that house, okay? That's not the issue. It looks great, believe me. Now, putting something like this in, the drainage, as far as the drainage goes, that's another problem. Even with the, what do you call those the French drains? Since the time I lived there, on the way my house sits, I get all the water, and the guy to Jess's, that would be his east and my south, okay? Right through that whole deal there. I mean, there's no creek or anything, but when there's a heavy rain, sometimes we can't mow for 3 or 4 days. Now, if you constitute in everything that this is going to throw, where's it going to be dumped? Okay? That's another thing. So.
All right, Joe, thank you. I'd like to hear what Rachel has to say, and your time limit has expired.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
No, you're good, but thank you very much for your concerns.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hi. I just want to state that I did go through the staff report, and at the time it said that all subjects 300 feet were notified, and that there was no home association at the time. There is a home association. We do pay home association dues. And in our home association article in section 2, it does state that any building structure does need to be approved by them as well. And so I just want to know if if it went to the home association first, because it states here that it did not, because he's not involved in one, but I do have all the documents that do state that he is involved in one. The other thing with this is looking at the square footage of my house personally. My house personally is 1,100 footprint. We do have a basement, so when it's a finished basement, so it does end up being 1,290. This building structure does end up bigger than my house. And that is a huge concern to me. As I've lived here, I bought this at 22 as a new home, never thought that I'd raise children in it. I raised 2 very young children that play in our backyard. And I own a small business. And so when I come home, I love being able to watch my children in the backyard and being able to play with them and see all the things that they do out there. And so I'm not opposed to a detached garage, absolutely not opposed to it at all. What I am opposed to is the size of the structure and the value that it places within my own home as well.
And Rachel, looking at the map behind you, on the screen behind you, where's your home?
My home is right
to the north.
Yes, to the north, directly behind. So our driveway would, where the structure is supposed, can I come up to that really quick?
Sure.
Where the structure is supposed to be placed, this is our backyard right here, and our driveway goes right there.
All right, thank you. Any other? Okay.
Do you want to go back to the person online?
Yeah, yes.
So
The person, do we have a name, Sarah?
Firebi Farret, I'm not sure how to pronounce this. If you can, you have your hand raised. If you could, you appear to be unmuted. So if you could go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes, my name is Robert Connard.
Okay, Robert, stand by just for a second. I'm going to swear you in, and I don't see a camera, but your microphone's good. And as I administer the oath, if you say I do, please state your name and address for the court reporter. So please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today?
I do.
Name and address?
Robert Connard, C-O-N-A-R-D. I live at 1106 Northeast 115th Street. I am exactly 1 block due south of him. I object. I'll follow your instructions.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us your concerns on this case today.
Okay. I have actually had a detached garage built, met all of the city's requirements. I also have personal vehicles. I have 3 classic cars, and I had mine built where I could put a lift inside it. I do have a 9-foot ceiling in it and have researched and found that I could put a lift in it that would do everything that I need to do as far as working on my own cars. I don't think there's any reason for that garage to be built that high. And also, I know Joe as well. I don't believe that there's a need for it to be that large.
So the variance before us today is only on the height, not on the square footage of the garage. And he's asking for a 6-foot variance on that.
6 inch.
Or 6 inch, sorry, 6 inch variance on that.
I believe that the builders could make minor adjustments to meet it without the variance.
All right, thank you, Robert. Is that the summation of your testimony?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you very much for your comments today.
Connor, the 10% lot area figure that you mentioned that
Yes.
makes this compliant, is that specifically for, is specifically for garages?
Yeah, detached accessory garages.
Okay.
I don't have the code section directly off the top of my head. I know it's 88305. The subsection I'm not sure of.
Yeah, it sounds like there's neighbor opposition to the square footage. However, we're not reviewing the square footage. We're reviewing the height. The height variance is very small. So as one board member, I would be favorable to approving this variance.
Board members, other comments? Jessup, do you want to respond to those comments you heard in opposition, sir?
I mean, this is it. I feel like both of these neighbors have not really done the research to look at the building codes for Kansas City. I've done extensive homework since mid last year to find out what the envelope is that I could work with. And I stayed within every area of that envelope aside from the 6-inch variance that I'm requesting. Unfortunately, I mean, you know, them saying it's bigger than my house is 1,900 square feet with my finished basement. Yes, the structure is 1,300 square feet without the finished basement. I have a longer driveway, bigger property than most of the people that are in opposition here. My direct neighbor to the right of me is in support of my decision, the one that would be mostly affected by this structure. The one behind me really has no relevance. They're not looking into my yard or looking into my property to see their kids play. Joe lives on the adjacent corner. Again, really has no relevance. I spoke with Joe about the drainage and that I will do more than adequate draining to prevent water from entering his property, which doesn't exist right now. So because I know I will be shedding more water off of this building, I will do additional measures to avoid them getting my water. And I did speak to them about that, as well as my direct neighbor, John, about his issues, because both of their yards get flooded when it rains. Most of that water comes from my property because I live a little bit higher than they do, right? But essentially it's coming through my property and ending up in theirs. Because of the square footage of this, it has gutters, downspouts, French drains, a gravel pit that the water is going to be poured into. They will get far less water than they have ever received after I build this building. So in my opinion, had some dialogue been opened up between the neighbors, I don't communicate with either one of these neighbors. I'm kind of introverted as far as, you know, my neighborhood life, so to speak. So, I mean, had either one of them approached me and asked me any of these questions, I could have answered them for them. But they're here today and hearing me say it in front of all of you guys.
Thank you for that.
Connor, I have a question. For a homes association or an HOA or something to be existent in the city system, is
Mhm.
there an application if they're saying there's a association that exists that they have needed to file with the state of Missouri to be listed in here to be notified, or how does that work?
There should be something like that, yes. Be registered with the city. When I checked on Parcel Viewer, nothing had come up at that time. So if there's something that exists that's not in Parcel Viewer, that's going to have to be addressed. Um, but at the time I wrote the staff report and had checked the neighborhood uh, link on Parcel Viewer, nothing had shown up at that time.
Thank you.
But as we all know, the HOA, even if they came against it, does not have effect on this board other than seeing that letter of denial, so to speak.
What do you mean has
Well,
effect on the board?
Yeah, because we're not really subject to HOA conditions
Oh,
on
okay.
this board.
That's
That's what I'm trying to say.
That's correct. The city does not enforce HOA conditions or regulations. That's something separate that they enforce themselves.
Right. I kind of agree with Joe that it's a big garage, but that's not why you're here. You're only here for six inches. So,
Yes, sir.
or 6+.
And to clarify to Joe's statement, he said the garage would be 29 feet. The gable is at 19 foot 1 inches. The medium distance would be 16 foot 6 inches. The roof of my house is located at 25.4 inches. So this is not bigger than my house. It doesn't stand taller than my house. Aesthetically, I would like it to be the same height as my house and it would match perfectly. But I'm not going to ask for that much of a variance because I don't need that much. I just need what I'm asking for.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Docket item 13, case 31, I move that we grant the requested variance in accordance with site plan and staff report.
I have a motion by Mr. Hayes. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Wright.
Gorens,
Aye.
Mixdorf,
Aye.
Wright, Hayes,
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye, your project is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
coming
guys.
online.
Thank you
and
for your
thank you
time.
coming
I
down.
appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Connor.
It's 10:30. Do we want to take a break or do we want to take our last case in front of us? Last case. Mr. Hamilton, come on up.
Docket item number 11 is CD BZA 2025-24, a request to approve variances to the lot and building standards in an infill residential development site, plus any other variances on about 0.156 acres, generally located at 4801 Holly Street. Alec Gustafson is the staff planner for this case. We have anyone else who would like to speak to this case? You could raise your hand online or approach the microphone on the podium.
Anyone on this case want to raise your hand at 4801 Holly Street? Just me. I know. Oh, I know that, Mr. Hamilton. Thank you. Anybody, Sarah, as yet?
No. The one of the person who testified on the last case raised their hand again. Do you wish to testify again on 4801 Holly? Robert?
You're muted, Robert.
Okay, maybe not.
Okay. All right, Mr. Hamilton, please raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in this meeting today?
I do.
Please state your name for the court, name and address for the court reporter.
James T. Hamilton, 4801 Holly Street, Kansas City, Missouri, 64112.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You've been here before. There's a list of administrative exhibits labeled 1 to 9 that we need to admit for your case today. Do you have any objections for us to admit that?
No.
Great. Those are admitted. Part of that is a presentation by Alec. Go ahead and tell us about it.
All right, I'll share my screen in a second. So before us today, we have docket item number 11. This is CD BZA 2025-24. at 4801 Holly Street. It's a request to approve variances to the lot and building standards in an infill residential development site. This is the location of the site. It's in the West Plaza neighborhood. And a little bit of case history. This property was granted a certificate of legal nonconforming use back in 1983. That holds little water here. The bulk of this case history, the thing that is most important to note here is that we did see a variance for this same property exactly a year ago today. It was approved to allow the lot to be split into a non-conforming lot size in comparison with infill residential lots and building standards. Following that variance, the minor subdivision for the lot split was presented to building codes, and it was not approved due to the lot split being too close to the primary home on 4801 Holly Street. We're coming back here again because James has moved the lot line in attempt to keep the lot as it was approved earlier. However, it is still in nonconformance, and it is still smaller than what is permitted in the infill residential context area, as well as the standard conventional lot and building standards. So a little bit of context for the infill ordinance and context area, a little bit of background, I guess. The infill ordinance purpose is to ensure that residential development in existing neighborhoods is generally consistent with the form, bulk, placement, and scale of existing residential buildings. That meaning that when you have a neighborhood in an infill residential area and your lot is in this infill area, the home, the setbacks, the lot size all must be consistent with other homes in this overarching infill neighborhood. In addition to that, we also have that helps that helps with enforcing this infill ordinance is the infill residential context area. This is defined as 200 feet buffer around the property. That is all the homes within that 200-foot buffer on the same block face would be what the primary home, the subject site, is subject to similar standards as those other homes. These are two important sections of code to be thinking about going through these variances. This is the subject site on West 48th Street and Holly Street. And this is what would be considered the infill context area. You can see what is highlighted in blue is what the home would be subject to maintaining similar setbacks, lot size, overall character, form, bulk, and basically everything that was listed in the infill ordinance as important to uphold. So this is the 200-foot buffer in yellow, and then the blue homes are the context area for 4801 Holly Street. This is the west facade of 4801 Holly Street from Google Street View in April 2019. And this is the north facade and the rear yard of 4801 Holly Street, where the proposed second dwelling is to be placed and where the lot is to be split in the backyard. This is just a general, it's not the official site plan or anything, but it is a quick rendering from parcel viewer to kind of give you an idea of what this lot split will look like in comparison to the other homes in the context area. That second smaller square is where the second dwelling will be placed. This is the site plan showing the proposed second dwelling unit, its setbacks, the square footage, and where the lot split will be. This is the updated rear yard dwelling site design. It is different from what was proposed last time around, but this is what was provided this time around to be placed in the rear yard of this existing dwelling. These are the rear elevations and the left and right elevation. Now we'll move into variance A. This is a variance of 1,782.02 square feet to the minimum lot area requirement of 6,000 square feet in an R6 zoning district to permit a lot area of 4,217.98 square feet on tract 1 of the subject site. So tract 1 being the left side, the larger one. Since it has a context area, it is just held standard to the R6 conventional lot and building standards. So the requirement being 6,000 square feet. What's being asked to be permitted is 4,217 about square feet. So this is a 29.7 reduction on the site. A substantial change to the character of the neighborhood would be anticipated. The infill residential context area will not be upheld with the approval of this lot size. That would mean the context area of the blue homes that I had highlighted earlier that are within the 200-foot buffer and on the same block face. The context area will not necessarily be upheld with this. It will disrupt the character and feel of the neighborhood and may set a precedent of new development nonconformance in the neighborhood. With a minor subdivision like this, with a lot split like this, and not really a necessarily physical hardship, the property owner is creating the hardship by doing the lot split. It would not really be possible to avoid this variance based on the proposed lot split. This is just a little bit more context to the variance A. So what's required is 6,000 square feet per 88-11006. The proposal is 4,217. This is just basically letting you know that you can see here in red, you have where tract 1 is. This lot would be significantly smaller than what is highlighted in blue in the other picture, which is the context area. And if the intent of the infill ordinance is to maintain context area and form, this would be against that section of code. This is a little bit more background into variance B. So this is a little bit more into infill residential context area. When an infill lot is on its own context area, when there's no other houses on the same block face, meaning the home doesn't face the same way as any other homes on that same block face. It does not have a context area. And when there are 2 or fewer developed lots in a context area, the conventional standards are reduced by 25%. So conventionally, this lot would be held to a 6,000 square foot lot size minimum. But with the reduced standards, what the required lot minimum would be is 4,500 square feet. So we base our determination with this variance off of the 4,500 square feet rather than the 6,000. So variance B would be a variance of 1,979.31 square feet to the minimum lot area requirement of 4,500 square feet with the infill residential reduced standards by 25% to permit a lot area of 2,520.69 square feet on tract 2 of the subject site. This would be a 43.98 reduction of what is required, being 4,500 square feet. And again, a substantial change to the character of the neighborhood would be anticipated. This, again, with the creation of a lot split like this, it is creating its own hardship, and it would no longer be in alignment with the overall intent of the infill residential development ordinance being to maintain bulk and character and form of the overall neighborhood in the infill area. The property could be designed to build a slightly smaller house, but that would still not really necessarily obviate the lot split itself, because the lot split would still, no matter what, be smaller than what's required. So it wouldn't necessarily be possible to avoid the variance based on the proposed plan. This is a little bit more information on variance B, just kind of reiterating what I've already said. This is tract 2 of the subject site. It's the only house in its context area. Therefore, it is subject to 25% of the conventional standards, being 44,500 square feet. And I think, I rest my case on variance B. And then we go on to a little bit more background into variance C here. What is required in the conventional standards for the lot and building standards in R6 is 25% of the lot depth, so or 20 or 30 foot maximum. Whatever's less is what you go based off of for when you're determining variances and setbacks of this sort. So we go with the 25% of the lot depth. And this is a variance for tract 1. So with the lot split, what's required is 25% of the lot depth. when you split the lot, you're making the lot depth smaller. So what the lot depth will become is 84.44 feet. That's the lot depth. Since the rear setback requirement is 25% of the lot depth, you would take 25% of 84.44, making the required setback 21.11 feet. And I have here in the site plan drawing, I have just kind of in blue is what is required, in red is what is being proposed. So with that background, we'll move forward into variance C. It's a variance of 12.21 feet to the rear setback standards in an R6 zoning district to permit a rear setback of 8.9 feet on the subject site on tract 1. So this would be an 83% reduction, where 25% of the lot depth is 21.1 feet. So the requirement basically being 21.1 feet, and what is being proposed is 8.9. This again is would be anticipated to be a substantial change to the neighborhood. All in the infill residential context area, so those other blue homes in the lot, or in the picture that I showed earlier, the lot split would create its own hardship, and it would not conform to the other setbacks in the context area of the infill residential area. So redesigning the project to build a slightly smaller house could obviate it, but then again, you still have the lot split, where no matter what, where he splits the lot, the setback will be non-conventional, non-standard to the context area. So with the proposed plan, the variances could not really be obviated. And this is just some more information based on that. You can see in this picture you can see I have red arrows. I don't know if they're big enough for you guys. That would be the context area's setbacks. As you can see, the lot lines sort of deviate to the right a little bit, but generally they're all compliant with the context area and what is required of these lots in an R6 zoning district. And again, I have the same image where it's blue is what is required, red is what is being proposed. And I'll move forward with just a quick summary of the lots. This variance sought by the applicant are not necessarily based on any real hardships. The creation of the lot is smaller than what is permitted in conventional development code, as well as what's permitted in the infill ordinance, which results in this lot, which needs excessive variances simply just to exist. If these variances are denied, the West Plaza neighborhood will maintain a consistent contextual nature. The lot sizes will remain standard, and the neighborhood will avoid any potential negative precedent of increasing dwelling density in a already well-established low-density neighborhood. If the variances are denied, the owner will not be able to build a second home in the backyard of the existing home with this lot split. That would conclude my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Board members, questions?
What would the variances look like if this were an ADU? Did you look into that at all?
I mean, it wouldn't have the lot split, so he would be held to the ADU standards where the home would need to be 10 feet away from the subject site, which he already does have in the site plan. Or it would need to be 10 feet from the primary dwelling. It would need to maintain whatever the setbacks are for the R6 zoning district. And it would not be allowed to be any taller or larger than the primary dwelling, which is the case already.
So Alec, a year ago, we gave them the variance to do the lot split, correct?
Yes.
And then what happened there? Tell me one more time.
The minor subdivision was taken to plans review. Building codes looked at it, did not see that it could be actually done with fire codes, since the lot line was so close to the primary dwelling.
Right.
It would need to be fire rated, thus forcing the lot split to be moved to the east.
Which is what he's doing today.
Which is what he's doing. Which is what he's proposing to do today. But the variances still exist in the same way. They're just slightly smaller, some are larger, um, such as the lot area size of tract 2, the smaller one. That moving the lot line to the east, making that lot smaller, makes the variance larger.
Thank you. Any other questions of staff? Mr. Hamilton,
Yes.
well, tell us why we should approve this request today, sir.
Well, as I did last year, I still would like to build a home on the property um, for my wife and myself to inhabit, and then eventually, hopefully, my kids move into the other home. I would prefer to have both properties their own legal descriptions and their own addresses for future possible sales. Is why I'm not looking at an AD, or why I'm not looking at the ADU route. Also, as a realtor, I'm acutely aware of the shortage of housing, and should plans not go as I hope they do with my wife and I and our kids on the property. It provides another single-family dwelling, which is a very small drop in the bucket with our or toward the housing shortage, but it is a little bit. We've moved the lot line, which is the only thing we moved. I think about 7 feet in order to get it away from any flammable portion of my existing home there, which, as Alex said, has changed the percentages and the setbacks a little bit. I did, however, in looking at potential building plans, find this the current proposed home for the site, which still is about the same square footage as what I proposed last year, 2-car garage, 3 bedrooms, 3 bath, that it has a smaller footprint than what I proposed last year, to make up for some of the decrease in lot size, I guess you would say.
You're asking for a lot of variances in this particular case. And the new home would be facing 48th Street
Correct.
with a 48th Street address, no doubt. Can't recall any other homes on that couple blocks around you, and maybe Alec can answer this, that face 48th Street with this type of garages facing 48th?
Not on this side of the street. There is one across the street that faces 48th Street, directly across from the property,
Right.
but not on my side of the street.
You can see that here in the image I have pulled up.
Yes.
I'm going to share on both screens if you wouldn't mind.
Yep. You can see that here across the street. It does face this way, and it does have a driveway off the edge, but that lot is in conformance, however, because it's in a different zoning district and held to a different standard, conventional standard. So the difference here is that this is in an R6 zoning district and would be held to the R6 standards.
What's the one across the street, Alec?
R2.5.
I'm only one board member, and I understand the need for more infill housing, but I don't know that this is the right path to do that. I think we have a lot of other lots available in the city, and I'm concerned if we start creating a lot of non-conforming lots, that more people will continue to make these lots smaller, which they're already fairly small lots, and I just don't know that this is the right precedent that I would like to be setting.
I kind of echo Ms. Mixdorf's opinion. If you go north from your lot or north from 48th Street, a couple blocks, I know between 45th and 46th Street, there are a lot of tight homes in those that were redone. Just seems like a pretty small lot, like Randy said, a pretty small lot to begin with that we're now adding a potential second home to, sir. I'm not sure you can come back to us in a month or two or a couple meetings and maybe try to redesign it.
I think all of the variances would still be necessary.
I think so too,
to
Randy.
do the project.
Yeah.
And I mean, 83% reduction, 44% reduction, they're just very large numbers that have, and as one board member's opinion, a high impact on the neighborhood.
Did West Plaza Neighborhood Association give blessing on this one?
Yes, they did.
You have a letter to that effect?
Yeah, it's on Compass KC under public testimony. Should be Exhibit 10.
I'm going to take a quick peek at that. Maybe the other board members are too. Give me a second.
It looks like they took a stance of non-opposition. So it is
Yeah.
not a support letter nor a
No.
opposition letter.
Randy? Well, I don't know what to say.
I can offer a motion.
Yeah, just to let you know, Mr. Hamlin, I mean, last year when you came before us, it seemed more reasonable than what it does today. That's why I wasn't opposed to it last year. I'm more not supporting it today because of the large number of variances and the fact that the home doesn't really fit in with that area in West Plaza. So.
The home design, you mean?
No, the design had, I can't speak to the design. It's the variances you're asking for within the design. So, somebody else comes before us and says, well, on 4801 Holly, we were allowed to split the lot and put two homes up. The next person, like Randy says, comes before us and says, well, you gave a variance on them. Why can't you give a variance on us? I'm just not sure. You have a large lot for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure the large of a lot will support two homes, sir. That's in my opinion, so.
I'd offer a motion.
Go ahead.
In docket number 11, case number 24, I move we deny the applicant's request.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
second by Mr. Hayes. Please call the roll.
Gorence,
Nay.
Mixdorf,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye as well. I'm sorry, Mr. Hamilton, your proposal is not accepted.
Okay.
Thank you. With that in, we have one more piece of business on the board's agenda today, and that is docket number A, to approve the amended rules and regulations governing the procedures of the Board of Zoning Adjustment. The members were all sent copies of the initial one with some blue lines through it. And then in the same attachment was the proposed new one. Does anyone have any discussion on that?
I think the changes seemed really reasonable and helped streamline our process and just add some clarity, also giving the chair a little more control over how the meeting needs to be performed.
I agree. And we had two attorneys look at it, and they also agreed with what you just said, Ms. Mixdorf. Anyone else?
I guess a point of clarification, I know it's not in these procedures then, but then when giving the rules of the meeting, should the chair then define time limits? I know, and it gives the chair the ability to
Right.
define those time limits. Will we add that to the beginning of your either kind of commentary or Sarah's commentary, just so the chair has that ability to do it and they can choose what they are that day, and we just kind of make sure that's
Because there's Sarah, I didn't see any time limits in it, or maybe.
No, it just says that you can adopt time limits.
Right, correct.
I think that gives some nice flexibility into what they can be, but I want to make sure we also give those testifying awareness of what that is. So I don't know if that's every meeting we can choose, depending on the docket length or whatever that may be, to make sure it's clear, but also giving us flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Do I hear motions to approve the amended Board of Zoning Adjustment rules and regulations?
So moved.
So I have a motion by Ms. Mixdorf. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Wright. Please call the roll.
Gorence,
Aye.
Mixdorf,
Aye.
Wright,
Aye.
Hayes,
Aye.
Meyer,
Aye.
Ebbets.
Aye. Those are approved and will become part of the new regulations of our board. With that, this meeting is adjourned
Wow.
at 11 o'clock.
I was ready for a lot more discussion.
Oh, did you want more?
No, I mean, this is great.
I think we all reviewed, I mean, off the record, we've all reviewed them, and so it seemed reasonable to me, so. Brought it down.